justice for all.
Before we begin the meeting, I want to review our school board ground rules. Show respect with both words and body language. No side conversations. One person talks at a time. Ask questions in advance and clarify ahead of time. And cell phones are put away. Okay, did we have anybody sign up?
No, I checked.
Did you? Okay. No public forum comments. Next on the agenda is to adopt the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll move. Second.
Moved by Linda, seconded by Deb. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. We have many successes in our district to celebrate, one of which is not on here, but to go to the elementary school for their program on Thursday. Oh my goodness. Those kids just sing their heart out. It was wonderful. And I know they had other schools there too, but it was a very nice tribute to the veterans. Also, yes, sir?
I was fortunate enough to be able to go down to Spring Creek for their program, and it was also the same way. The kids did a good job and the staff, and so it was a job well done too.
Good. I talked a little bit with Pauline and the two music teachers afterward, and they are really doing a good job. Okay, after school, congratulations to the TC football boys and girls cross-country teams. All three teams earned the South Dakota High School Activities Association Academic Achievement Team Awards. All varsity athletic teams and finance groups that achieve a combined grade point average of 3.0 or higher are eligible. Please congratulate the players and the coaches when you see them. All these kids are running uptown. Deb and I are coming, and here stands Shannon down by the bus garage. So we stopped and gave him a hard time and said, "You're supposed to be running with those kids." "No, I'm waiting," he said, "for whatever." So, but they were out running. It was so nice today. We have Students of the Month of October for 9th grade, Santana Williams, 10th grade, Jacob White, 11th grade, Dante Trulio. Okay. And 12th grade, Sam Grimshaw. Rosebud Elementary Drum Group has been asked to perform at the State Tribal Relations Rotunda ceremony. That's a big honor for them. They do really well, and I might add that the middle school drum group is going to run competition, I'm sure, with the Rosebud Drum Group. They sounded really good on Thursday as well. We went over there for lunch. Spring Creek School Attendance Incentive. On October 23rd, Spring Creek had an attendance incentive. Students who had 90% plus attendance participated in a basketball game with students versus staff, and they always enjoy that. Out of the 72 students enrolled, 34 students had 90% plus attendance. Out of those 34, 6 had perfect attendance. That is great. Okay.
Can I ask the question, Sandra?
Yes,
sir. Do you have a date for when the drum group's going up to that rotunda ceremony?
I didn't find it.
Okay.
during the legislative session, I believe.
Is that in January or something?
No. Oh, maybe it's in February.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's February.
Sometime during legislative, something like that.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Technical Advisor Quarterly Report. Michelle?
I don't know, do you normally stand or sit? Every board is
choice is
different that I
yours.
go to, so I guess I'll stand.
Either way.
I'm Michelle Bloat. Last year you had Al Coster, so I guess if you're familiar with his position, I'm the new Al, much younger, and not male, I guess. So I live in Pierre. I work independently but do contract with schools and with the state to oversee some of their title programs and your federal program applications and spending and those pieces. Up to this point, I've had this, in September I was up here 3 times, and in October I was up here once. A lot of September was spent on working on the consolidated app with Dr. Whitney and getting that lined out and ready. I know it was a new experience for her, not having a federal programs director, but we made it through it with lots of tweaks and making sure everything aligns so that you have your budget in place for your Title I, Title II, RLS funds or RLIS funds, and Title IV funding, as well as the schools that ended up applying for the 1003A funding. Also during that time, I've visited 5 of the schools so far in between different things. So I've been to the elementary here in town, the middle school here in town, Rosebud Elementary, and then the last time I was here in October, we went out to Spring Creek and to Hedog. So slowly getting around to all the schools. There's a lot of them, but there's things that I do here in the office too. A lot of time I spend time with Chad going through expenditures and whatnot of where we are with the budget. I know everybody's patiently waiting on when that consolidated app will be officially approved. Believe me, you're not the only one still waiting. DOE has a very limited staff and they have hundreds of applications to read, and they're lengthy, so it takes them a while. But it should be coming soon, I hope, so for your sake, and it'll be done and we can move forward on some other things we need to get finished. Is there any questions for me?
What does GMS stand for?
GMS is the grants management system. That's the state program where we kind of house all of the federal grants. So in there you fill out the narratives for your Title I and you put in the budget for your Title I. It's kind of a warehouse of grants.
Since you're new with this, was there like a carryover, what we were working on? Did you just come with it and continue on with it, or are you having to develop some new type of program situations, whatever word it might be?
I think we've followed pretty much the same protocol they had in place before, and if that's been working so far, if we come across stuff that needs to be tweaked, then we've tweaked it. Chad usually, if, let's say the elementary wants to buy some sort of supply for the title program, maybe it's a math intervention book. When that request comes to Chad, then he scans and emails it to me. I sign or not sign it depending on how they had written their application, and then I send it back to Chad. And that's the system that they used prior, and it seems to be working so far.
Thank you.
I apologize for sneaking out. I have to drive to Sisseton yet tonight, so. Sneaking away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Drive carefully.
Thanks, Michelle.
Yes.
I think we need a break then.
Okay, Deanne.
All right, well, she's good, so I feel like I have to stand. Okay, so just giving you a kind of a rundown of what we did last year and then a little bit of this year because we're only a few months into school. But last year, the nurses, we the visits that were put in Infinite Campus anyway, we saw the kids, and if they didn't get put in, then I think this number should have been higher, but we saw a total of 5,650 students, and with 174 contact days, that averages about to 32 students per day. So this year, we're already up to 42 students per day, which is like 14 students per nurse per day, but that's just the ones that get put in. The Band-Aid here and there, the ice pack here and there don't always get put in, so anyway, Steve, that's our main, job is to see the students, but in addition, we also monitor this is another main job. We monitor the immunizations district-wide to ensure compliance, and if they're not in compliance, we have to send them home. This time of year is the time of year that we have to send them home till they're done. We try to make every effort to contact the parents and get them in sooner so we don't have to send them home, but there's always a few. And then, so we collaborated with the PHN last year and held 6 immunization clinics because the new state law passed, and there are a lot of parents who still don't realize they had to have 6th grade shots. So, and then this year we had 3 immunizations clinics so far. We had 1 before school for shots that are needed to enter school, and then we had 2 flu shot clinics, 1 at the elementary and 1 at Rosebud Elementary. Those went really well. And we oversee all the med aids district-wide. We provide them with a copy of our standing orders from Dr. Berg, so we're all following the same orders. We revised and updated our health consent form to include all the medications we have orders for. We reviewed and revised our standing orders with Dr. Berg in August, and this is something that we do annually unless we need to do it more often, but it's usually annually. We make monthly visits to outlying schools, and we try to do it at the same time each month, but like Thanksgiving kind of messes that up this month, so we might go a little early or a little late this month. We monitor the AEDs in all the schools, making sure that the batteries, they have batteries they're all working, nothing's expired, all that type of stuff. And we provide puberty education district-wide. We use the Always Changing About You curriculum, and that's for 5th grade, but we also do it for anyone else who's requesting it. All 3 nurses are CPR certified instructors through Stanford Health. And we've already taught 9 CPR classes, and we certified 60 staff and students. We have more classes planned in the upcoming months. We are doing one this Wednesday for 14 high school students. And the ratio is 6 students to 1 instructor, so all 3 have to be there. And then we're all certified now to do drug testing, and we come over twice a week and help Monica. We allow nursing students from several different universities to shadow us. We've had a Methodist school nursing from Nebraska. We have SGU. We have one other, I can't remember the 3rd one, sorry. And we'll have more throughout the year. We get heights and weights in all the students district-wide, and last year we entered them all into Infinite Campus, but it's really especially for Roxy, has 700 kids alone in the middle school. So now we're gonna put them all in forms and mail them in, because it's a lot. And let's see, so that's about 2,600 students we've done so far on that, and then we've been reviewing and revising, this is ongoing, our nurse policy and procedure manual to try to standardize our forms for all the schools and to update some of the things that are in there, because it looks like they've been taken from other schools, and we're trying to, and the National Association of School Nurses is really good because we get a lot of current pertinent information from them. So, and I didn't bring the thing I showed the administrators, but we have we're trying to decide if we should laminate them or just put them in sleeves, but it's like a little emergency how to treat different things, because we're not able to be at every school. So we're trying to get that it's like a little algorithm, and you just go through it and it tells you what to do for different injuries. So, and we collaborate on all the 504s district-wide and some IEPs. And we had a float in the homecoming parade. We didn't win this year, but last year we placed. Next year. And then we're trying to reduce costs. So, but we do need to change out some of our equipment, needs to be replaced, but we're just trying to do it slowly instead of just having a big hit to the budget. So, and this year so far we've had 1,965 office visits, which averages, like I said, to 14 students per nurse per day, and that's the ones we turn on. Any questions? So when you run and looked at those nurses doing.
Where are you located at, like the various individuals?
Okay,
Just-
Roxy's at the elementary is where her office is, but she also has, she kind of does the Oak Creek, Klein, Little Bird, and Lakeview. She's got that little stretch. And then I have the middle school and Spring Creek and Hedog. And Donna has the high school achievement. Her and I kind of trade off up to the what is it, WWT, I'm trying to think of it. And then and she has Rosebud. How could I forget Rosebud? We tried to do it by the number of students and travel, and I've tried to divide it up more equally, so. And we all cover for each other when we're gone, so we try not to leave the district without it. We try to leave someone here in Mission at all times. We don't all go up at the same time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I squeeze up 2 minutes?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Counselors, you're on. All of you.
More in-depth information you can read.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, good evening. This is the counseling department, and I'm going to start. I am Mary Nylander. Most of you know me. I've been here for a long time, and I work at Hedog and Spring Creek. I'm the counselor of both those schools, plus the ex-ed case manager at Spring Creek. I'm at Hedog 2 days a week on Mondays and Thursdays, and I basically do individual counseling, some small groups. If they ask me to do a large group with the classes, I will, but I have a lot of individuals, so I can't. And then I collaborate with the principal and then the teachers and stuff there. Plus, I work with outside agencies like Southern Plains and Tuatee Igloo Kanepi on those days, and then I'm gonna go some more, and then on Spring Creek, I'm there on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and one day is my ex-ed day where I do paperwork and see those kids, and then the other day I'm doing counseling. Basically the same stuff I do at Hedog. And then on Fridays, because of numbers, I have around 160 kids at Hedog and 72 at Spring Creek, and so it varies where I'm at on Fridays. On Friday afternoons, except for this month, White Buffalo Cafe is doing activities with our middle school kids at Hedog, and so I'm the counselor there. I help with those things, with those activities, plus if they need a counselor, if we have like a kid that has some trauma-related things or something that needs to talk, then I'm there for that. I know that we're working on getting that at Spring Creek as well. And then that's in the afternoon. One Friday a month we have our counselors meeting in DDN with our training from Avera on different topics. And so sometimes, like I might be at an IEP meeting that a parent requested on that Friday because she can't get there any other time. Or I might be doing counseling at Hedog, so basically Friday is my floating day. It kind of depends on what the needs of, and if I'm in Spring Creek and there's a crisis that happens at Hedog, I may get called to go over there. So that's what I do.
You sound like a busy lady.
I'm Carrie Reinders. I'm the counselor at Rosebud Elementary in Lakeview. I'm at Rosebud 4 days a week and at Lakeview 1 day a week. I do pretty much same things Mary had said, a lot of individual counseling. I also do classroom counseling once a week at both schools. And then when I'm at Rosebud, I also help manage TATs. We have peer mediation at Rosebud Elementary, so I help coordinate that. And then I also do Gazelle testing or Gazelle assessments as needed.
Both Kristen and I work at the elementary school. Kristen primarily works with kindergarten through 2nd grade, and then I work with 3rd through 5th grade. We do monthly classroom counseling, so we go into each of the classrooms once a month. We do individual counseling, group counseling, TATs, IEP meetings. We also, last November, we implemented the brain room. And what the brain room is it's a safe, calm place for any students to utilize. They come in, we have tools to help to calm down the limbic system and work with the limbic system, so that way, and also having one of us, or sometimes there's both of us in there depending on the day and how things are going. Like last week with Halloween being kind of crazy, we kind of utilize that room a lot more. It's a place for us to build relationships with those students that come in. They're able to calm down and then return back into their classrooms. And we invite you guys to come in at any point to come see our brain room, see the tools that we use, and visit with us more about what we do in there. We also help the students to learn techniques to calm themselves down too. So. And we have more on our thing of what we do.
Okay. I'm just gonna hand out some folders quickly to you. And these are just a little packet that we have from our middle school counseling department. Most of you know me too, Jenny Cornelli, and I work with Beth Burnett, and then we also have Becky, and she's out of town at some family doctor's appointments today, so she's unable to come. We included in there just an outline of what we do, but also some sheets, our department mission statement and purpose, as well as some referral forms, confidentiality sheets, just some things that we cover at the middle school. Again, we also do individual counseling. We work in the recovery room as well, which is similar to the elementary school brain room. And the purpose of that room for us is to help students identify triggers and emotions if they're unable to be in the classroom and to be in a learning environment. We want them to come in to regulate themselves. And the goal is to return them back to the classroom, to the learning environment.
There's a menu
yeah.
in your packet.
Sorry,
with
yeah,
the
that was at the very end.
So when a student comes into the recovery room, we ask them to assess how they're feeling, which emotion, which number they identify with. We document that, and then we have a menu that they choose from. Though they select which they would like to do for like 5 or 10 minutes. There's some options there. And then after that time, we talk with them again, assess where they're at, and then we return back into the classroom.
We also work with mediations, we have group sessions. We work with South Dakota My Life with the high school counseling department. We work with them to incorporate South Dakota My Life. We have case management, parent agency coordination and communication. We have weekly counseling department staffings within our building, as well as we do monthly department meetings for the whole district. And we also attend 504 TAT and IEP meetings. And we work with, transitions as well. And we address staff and parent concerns.
The referral form that's in there, it's online in our building for any staff. It's also, there's copies within the office. Anybody can make a referral. Karen in the kitchen to Mary for maintenance, anybody can make
Bus drivers, whoever it might be.
The wellness wheel,
This wheel here, the teachers, the wellness teachers work with students weekly and, well, every day they have wellness groups, but they go over this wheel, and we have gotten a lot of referrals from this because the wellness teachers see them daily and are with them for at least a half hour. The
first class of the day is.
First class of the day, so they're able to kind of assess and see where a student is at and see if there might be a little bit more, an increased need for a counseling or referral.
So you don't do classroom counseling at all anymore?
We're working on groups, so we go in once a week, but it's not in every classroom. It's kind of, we're on
It's in the packet, it's called the group
the group
just
sessions. Yeah.
description or something. It kind of describes what our class is about or what topics we cover within it.
I do, I cover Little Bird Elementary, and I do weekly sessions there, however, too, so. And again, you guys are more than welcome to come in and see what we're working on. We appreciate your company, actually.
I'm Gwen Winnig from the high school. There's two other counselors, Barry Bailey and Sunny Clifford. And then we also have a Garrett coordinator, Ellen, who does more of the SD My Life and that type of stuff. And then I also utilize Shelby, the social worker, quite a bit. We have kind of 7 main areas where most of our duties fall. The first one is students in crisis, when they come in suicidal or having cut or relationship issues. The second one is kind of has to do with the first one. It's referrals, mediations, child abuse reports, arranging for students to be taken to the hospital if they're suicidal. The third one is addressing parent or teacher concerns. The fourth one is contact with outside agencies and the social worker. The fifth one is scheduling and planning, and that's kind of where college applications and scholarships and FAFSA and all that kind of stuff falls into. Then testing, we do ACT and ASVAB and Smarter Balance, all that testing stuff. The seventh one is 8th grade transitions and graduation. Just kind of lump those together. Our focus this year actually it's been more college applications and scholarships, which there's been some good things that have come from that. We've got a student that is on the second round for going to Harvard and a student that's on the second round for going to Stanford. And we also have, I don't know the number, but quite a few students have already applied to colleges, which is much better than where we were at last year with them. I think probably where we're lacking the most is in the number one thing, which is students in crisis. Out of the 3 counselors, we have 1 myself who handles most of those things. And we have close to 500 students right now. So it's probably it's a pressing need, I think, for us to have more of the counseling side. Our recovery room it's not really up and running. We've used it some when I've had students come in with panic attacks or anxiety issues. But hopefully over the Christmas break, actually Shelby and I are planning on getting it fixed up, and then hopefully we can start using that more.
I just forgot
Yes,
one
ma'am.
thing. We're slowly getting a recovery room at HEDOG, getting things for it, and then with being at Spring Creek, I have a lot of things in my office and in the building where I'm at, where kids can come and calm down if they need to, since I'm not always at my schools every day, so they do things.
Anything else?
I could
Oh, go ahead.
No questions?
No, I have a question.
Okay, when did this start?
So there's how many recovery rooms in the district?
Don't count mine because they're not set up.
Two.
So we're working on
Two that
it.
are working, running well, and you think that that's something that's really good for the district? Both of you. So I think maybe the other district, the other schools should probably look at that. What happened to the hardware?
Honestly, I don't know. And with me being the only counselor there and also having to go to another school, I know has been a discussion about if we have a recovery room, how is it going to be managed, you know, what are we going to do? So we have had a discussion, it's just a matter of how.
Do you think he'd look at something like that?
That's some of our issues too, because if you want counselors in the recovery rooms and you don't, if you're not at your school every day, it's hard to do that. Or at least,
I think it's important to emphasize that we do use therapeutic techniques while we're in there.
Yeah.
And it's not just a warm body.
Right, yeah.
So the schools where the counselor's the only person at the school or part-time at the school would be a little bit more,
we haven't figured
it would
that all
it
out.
would be a little bit harder to manage, I believe.
Do you also have your monthly meetings together?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Any other question? So let's go to my life. High school didn't do it last year, they done it this year.
This year, it's mostly with the Gear Up coordinator, Ellen.
So every kid is doing South Dakota Life, every ninth grader at least? I just don't see a carryover, the need to do it if the high school's not doing it at the middle school.
I can speak for last year for the middle school. It was conducted, Mr. Fitchell went into the 8th grade classrooms and completed to the amount that he has now, but the new plan was it's part of the transition program. So 8th graders go to the high school as a class to do South Dakota My Way there. So, and I guess we'll have to ask when about I don't know what happens from 9th grade through 12th.
Right. Right now, we have some 8th graders coming over right now that Ellen works with, I know for sure. And then they use the program a lot in ACT prep. Like they could do the whole class of ACT prep just based on SD My Life because it's that good of a resource for ACT. So I know they use it in that class, and then college prep class, they also use it for looking at all the scholarships and career planning and that type of thing. As far as getting to every 9th grader, that is not happening.
I just have one more question. The transitioning, I know that's always been a weak theme in the district, and I think it's really important. Are you guys thinking of some kind of plan to come up with for transitioning this year?
Yeah, so what we have been doing is usually sometime in the fall, the 5th graders are invited to Canfield Productions when they were just there last week to go view that. And then also former students like from Rosebud, the elementary school, come back as part of their transition to talk about what the middle school is, the classes, what they have to do. And then usually January, February, we go over to the middle school to have a tour, to see some classrooms, more question and answer. And then in May, the middle school invites the 5th graders to come over to eat lunch, and then they spend 20 minutes in the exploratory classrooms, do like a rotation. They get to 4 or 5 of them to know, okay, when you come as a 6th grader, this is what you're going to be doing in this class. And the kids, they really like it, especially when we go that last day, because they know what to expect when they're coming that first day of school.
And with the kids going to the high school, they did more last year than they've done. Where before they were just going once for like the tour and all that kind of stuff, but they really have started to invite all the kids from especially the outer schools to get them comfortable. And even, I give props to the middle school because they invited out the outlying schools for the older kids too, to go to Campbell, which was really good. And doing things in the spring, having them come for the tour, having them be in classes and stuff, and then do the thing at the end. So things are getting better with the high school, and we'll continue to work on that.
Sounds like you're all working very hard. I just wish we had more counselors though. I know when I first came in, every school had a counselor.
Yeah.
I just can't see counselors spending so much time doing testing when we have kids who have serious needs. Something we probably have to talk about as a board, I think. But thank you.
My turn?
Yes.
My question is going to be addressed to you as a group. My question is, the word suicide, what kind of programs or what systems do we have if, our staff comes across a student that is kind of talking about it or something? What do we have and what do we need, or it's an open question. I know high school was kind of addressed in it a little bit, but how about our elementary, middle school, et cetera?
I think like the high school probably has the most ideations. So, and we can let Gwen speak of that, but at the middle school, usually a referral happens to one of the counselors, and we do an assessment. And typically, a referral is made to IHS Behavioral Health. And that's usually the protocol that the district has, and that's the protocol that we follow.
And even in the outlying schools where we have middle school age kids, we usually, we get the referral, or, one of the teachers, and get called into the office, and then we speak to the kids, but we also contact the parent. And like last year, we had a situation at one of my schools where actually the principal took the kid to the hospital and met the parents there. And we've had parents that have come to school to take their kids in, or if it's a kid that's having those ideations or feelings and stuff, and maybe already see like Dr. Hill at the hospital, because we had that happen, then they will go in for that. So it's a little different when you're out of the state, whether it's the West End, I'm sure, or the East End. It's a lot of different than being this admission to have, we have to have things in place out. So sometimes it is a principal, sometimes it's, just kind of depends, and that's where it's important to get our parents involved, and they're usually really good about it, so they're willing to get help for their kids.
Thank you.
Well, like Linda, I've worked with a number of you, and it's good to hear that you're focusing on transitions again, because that was always a biggie, and I always would have liked to have seen more of it. And shortages, I wish you guys weren't stretched so thin. I mean, we do need more counselors.
I think we would all agree.
And thank you for having your monthly meetings. I know
Yeah.
collaboration is key.
Okay, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, first reading of school board policies. GCOAB, evaluation of supplemental contracts personnel. GDJ, support staff assignments and transfers. JJICA, athletic participation of 7th and 8th grade students at the high school level. And JJICAA, athletic participation of elementary students not enrolled at Tuckpine Middle School. Those are all on for the first reading. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Are there items you want to pull out? Anybody?
Maybe, Madam Chair, if we're just saying these are the first readings, when can we ask questions or see why the change, or because I'm going to say clueless of why are we making changes? Where did it come from? Like,
I can speak to two of those. The one on the supplemental contracts was came out of a discussion, kind of negotiations with our school attorney that administrator should be an administrator to do an evaluation. So that has a slight change in it, so it says administrator, building principal. So that's why that little change is made in that GC, whatever that one was. And then the second one was,
can you, before we go to the second one,
okay,
so where was the board members at on this discussion of, let's say, the evaluation of supplemental contract? I'm gonna say I wasn't involved then.
yeah, we
but,
weren't on the board yet. yeah.
okay, so I guess I'm looking at for my fellow board people, because that's our responsibilities, our policies, and well, I'm not hearing it, I'm picking on Deb and Sandra, but you guys are aware that that's what the change was?
Yes,
And then you had it before? Is that, when did you guys become aware of it?
All of the changes are listed on in your packet there.
Yeah, but I'm trying to ask who had a question, or how did it originate?
I had some, because there were some people that were being allowed to evaluate people that did not even have the qualified degree to do so, and it was, being an administrator, and so it just wasn't right that, anyone could just come in and evaluate somebody without the qualifications.
Okay. Yeah, and
I was one of them that had the questions.
So, and that was the recommendation that you.
Well, we had discussions on it, I mean.
We had discussions on
yeah.
it, yeah. And the reason I caught it, I was looking through the policies when I was trying to figure out the staff protocols. And when I came across this one, I noticed that it had not been changed to show that it was an administrator, so I pulled it out to make the change on there. I think there's other places in policy where we have changed it before based on the board wanting an administrator to be in charge of. We had the same thing with the athletic activities director evaluating coaches, but he's not an administrator. So now it's kind of a team effort with that administrator completing the evaluation. This was just one spot that I noticed in policy where we hadn't changed it yet.
Okay.
And it's the same one with the other one, because we don't have probationary employees anymore under ESP. And we've changed some and caught them, the references. And this is another one that I just caught it that it hadn't been changed yet, to update it with all the others, to make them in line with what the others say.
But I also see that the administrators is going to have the responsibilities to make sure
It gets
these
done.
evaluations are being done.
Get 'em done.
And so they're going to get a large number of them that they're going to be responsible for. So, but that was just my question on that part of it. And now look at it. No, but that's why I asked it, is where it was coming from. And then it's tied into the next one? Is that
Yeah,
what you-
because we don't have probationary employees in ESP anymore. So any reference to a probationary employee, as we've caught them in policy, we've taken them out, but we haven't caught all of them. And I caught this one when I was reviewing policy, so I pulled it out to take out the probationary statement.
And which one is that on,
That is
Dr. Whitney?
GDJ. The last sentence, GDJ. It talks about
Okay,
serving another probation period. We don't have probation periods anymore. So So that's why I just caught that one in that certain policy. We have a lot of policies that refer to probationary employees that over time we've caught and changed, so they're correct and aligned with the negotiated agreement. This is one I caught. So I just put it on for a first reading.
Then it comes back on responsibilities of the board to correct their policies, so that,
Well, I'm just bringing it to your attention. You can decide to keep it the way you want, but you can keep it or change it. I'm just bringing it to your attention that I caught it, that it needed to be updated when I was reading through it. Just so it's in line with all the other policies we have and with the negotiated agreement for ESP.
yeah. I do have some other related questions to the policy, but not at this time, because I have a different thinking on reassignments and transfers. But that's coming from as a board member.
And a lot of that is in the negotiated agreement too. Reassignment and transfers is covered in negotiated agreement.
Yeah, but the policy should be first though, so if we change the policy. That's just my question.
Okay. Any other questions?
The agreement comes.
The agreement takes priority over policy, so you might want to make sure that they match.
It could be, because if the agreement says the same thing as this policy, I guess that's where.
We're trying to make them in alignment as we catch them.
Okay?
Okay.
Are you good?
I'll look at the agreement.
All right. Next is the consent agenda. What do you want to pull out?
Oh, okay.
If anything.
You're done on the 7th and 8th grade portion, or that policy? Is
Yeah,
that-
you have questions on that?
Well, I just picked out the old policy that I had and, and didn't get a full chance to see what was the question and what was being changed. And I guess on that, do we have a tennis program?
Not currently.
So are we changing the policy to have tennis then?
If you ever had tennis, it's covered.
Well, it should have been struck out. We used to have tennis, but we done away with it, so.
There's a supplemental for tennis, if there's ever a desire for people
For
to
someone to have.
participate.
If we bring the program back,
If there's
It's
a
here.
desire for students to participate.
We do have tennis
Yes.
available.
We do have tennis, yes.
It's just no
we have a tennis supplement, but that's not
It's never been.
not a
riffed,
program.
But it's never been riffed, so until it gets riffed, it's still a viable supplement.
It
Is that
could
the
be
same
an
for
activity.
wrestling?
Yes.
Or do
We do have wrestling.
yeah.
But if a kid in the spring says they want to play tennis, then we would have to provide that service because it's in the supplemental contract.
But it also says you have to have numbers too. You have to have so many, so that's in the agreement too.
I don't think the numbers.
No, there's
In the supplemental, if you look at the bottom, it says the board may determine.
It might say it on this
Negotiated agreement,
supplemental
tennis is actually listed.
contract. It was.
Because that's way back years ago, we quit tennis because there was only 8 girls, and that wasn't enough to.
And we only had one golf person 3 years ago.
I know, that was questionable too, so. But I'll take a look at it, and like I say, this is just, because we've dealt with the 7th and 8th grade participation stuff for years, so.
I don't see tennis listed
It's not listed anymore, so.
anymore. It must have been removed from there.
It hasn't been listed for quite a few years.
Okay, I don't.
So we could
What?
so we could scratch it then.
Okay. All right, now you can go on, sorry about that.
You want tennis struck out of there, is that what you're saying, for the second reading?
Well, if we don't have it, why would we have it in policy?
We will take it out for the second reading.
Are we good then?
I'll get back with you and just check with you.
Okay. Did you have things you wanted to pull out of the consent agenda?
Yes, I did, please. I'd like to pull G,
Okay,
H,
okay.
and however it takes, whatever procedure on I, I'd like to be able to maybe not agree with all the rest of them on that one. Like
Pull out
I'm
I.
really saying no, I
You
want
want to pull out I?
Yeah, I guess we would, that way, have a separate vote that way.
Okay,
And I did earlier on, wouldn't have to pull it out, but asked for a correction on the October 23rd meeting, that just the location was different than what the minutes stated.
and Phyllis already has that.
And Phyllis is already aware of it, so. As long as my fellow board agrees with me, unless I'm blowing smokers.
We were there.
But that's it, that's how I would like it.
And G, H, and I.
Okay.
Okay, is there a motion to accept the consent agenda excluding G, H, and I?
I'll move.
Moved by Linda,
I'll second.
second by Laverne. All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look at G.
Okay, on G, my question is, and Mr. Blaski will probably be able to, do we have all of these programs? Do we have
I can't address whether they're at the high school currently.
a definition of, do we have them, do we have such things?
Well, currently, we already have a trust and agency account for Secondary Club. I mean, that's been set up and established in prior years.
Okay, but
That
that's
was
one-
listed on there, but it's not one that's necessary at this point. The other clubs are I'm going to have to lean on the high school administration to be able to explain, because
I know they had two of them, 3 of them for sure last year. I don't know if they still do the same ones, but they had chess club, the Hosa,
they had the anime club, I know.
the anime and the archery. I don't know what that K-pop is.
That's Korean pop, and it's a new kind of music thing that it's super popular with kids. But there are several of our kids at the high school are interested in Korean pop. So Google that. Listen to Korean pop. It's supposed to be very, very popular with some of our high
They do
school
have
kids.
HOSA.
And Hosta.
So this is an
Going back to
opportunity
my
for the clubs to
question.
fundraise, earn their money in order to do the activities
their
that they
club.
want to do. So that's why it's being,
Oh, they just need an account to put it into.
they just need the accounts
Put their
approved
money
in
in.
order to put it
Okay,
into our trust
that makes
and
sense.
And they're going to go out and fundraise. That's the whole purpose of the trust.
Okay. So they just need accounts.
But do we also have supplementals for them, for the people that do them, so that's.
But that's not a requirement for these either.
They're part of the classroom activities, some of them. Like COSA is.
Like COSA would be, culinary, I'm assuming would be.
Culinary is, yeah. The other one.
So someone's made you aware, Mr. Blonsky, that all these groups or different programs, we gotta make an account for?
That's what's being requested.
That's what they're requesting.
That's exactly what
They're all from the high school, right?
Because what we'll do is we'll set up and establish the accounts that you'll see within that trusted agency report that you get once a month. So it'll be one of the 100 different accounts we have like that in the district, so.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay,
Yep.
got it. All right. Is there a motion to approve G?
I'll move.
Moved by Linda,
Second.
second by Deb. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's go on to H. Approve ASBSD to conduct superintendent search.
Okay, am I allowed to talk about it?
Sure.
I guess it was just, the information I saw said something about, we were supposed to make a motion that we were, but I didn't see it anyplace. And to approve ASB to conduct it, to me, that's not a motion. And so I'm looking for the format that, and I would make such a motion that we, that we did selected ASBSD to, and then there was something word about a contract too, also, so I don't.
Dr. Royer is going to bring a contract when he comes down to meet with us.
Okay, so our motion should be that we should select and designate ASBSD as our superintendent consultant, or, okay. And I guess that's what I'm trying to show there, that
You want to
we
make
make
that
a
motion?
That's what I will do. If
Okay.
that's-
State your motion.
the motion is to approve ASBSD as our superintendent search consultant.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Linda. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll go on to H.
Yep.
We're going to vote.
Oh,
Aye.
we did
We did vote
H.
aye.
Aye. You meant aye?
Oh. We didn't vote on H.
We
Yeah, we
didn't
did.
vote on
You
it.
just
Well,
did, you just did.
All three of them.
No. He made the motion.
You said
I
it,
second.
then we voted.
Oh.
Oh,
That's me.
I gotta change my
It
3 to a
changes.
4.
I mean, I would vote, I didn't hear you.
Are you in agreement, Linda?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay,
You-
let's,
He does that. He got me mixed up once. I voted the wrong way.
Just once?
It's like, yes.
Yeah, just once.
No,
Well, this one. No, I just wanted the opportunity on I to say no.
to say no on
But that's.
You'll figure it out.
the Motion and
So we
second.
need to make a motion.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to I then.
Okay, I'll
Are you
move.
good with that?
Okay.
I'll second.
Moved by Linda, second by Deb. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Okay. The next regular board meeting will be Monday, November 27th, at 6 o'clock at Rosebud. So we'll see you all at Rosebud. Jim, I want to talk to you a minute.
Pardon me?
I want to talk to you a minute.
Sure.
Okay, I'll adjourn the meeting at whatever time it is.
6:30.
6:30.
Okay.
You and Paul and